think we're going to maybe get something, but I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big.
Earlier this week, I met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, talked with him while he was in Washington to meet with President Trump at the White House and also to attend the funeral service for Senator Lindsey Graham. He came to the meeting at the White House with evidence, he says, shows Russian involvement in the Iran conflict.
Well, the spotlight is now shifting to Israel, while it has not directly joined the latest phase of fighting that erupted after Iranian attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. Questions are mounting over whether that could change soon.
China has provided Iran ballistic missile chemical precursors that have supported Iran's ballistic missile program.
Attention is now focused on whether Israel would eventually enter the fight alongside the United States.
President Trump saying that he's showing no mercy as he warns Iran this is their last chance before resuming a bigger and stronger strike.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
Moscow is getting involved in this conflict. Those sources telling CNN that Russia is providing this intel about the location of American troops and assets so that Iran can specifically target them.
We know what's going on, and the president has an incredible knack at knowing how to mitigate those risks. And so the American people can rest assured their commander-in-chief is well aware of who's talking to who, and anything that shouldn't be happening, whether it's in public or back-channeled, is being confronted and confronted strongly.
The American people can therefore expect conversations with the Russians to stop this?
Well, President Trump, as people have seen, has a unique relationship with a lot of world leaders where he can get things done that other presidents, certainly Joe Biden, never could have. And through direct conversations or indirect, through him one-to-one or through his cabinet, messages definitely can be delivered.
Does this put U.S. personnel in any more danger than they otherwise would be?
Well,
the Russian involvement.
No one's putting us in danger. We're putting the other guys in danger.
The next part of the dream, it shifts to the sky. And written up in the sky was a city. At this time, I had no idea where the city was. I'd heard of the city before, but I wasn't sure exactly where in the world the city was. I knew it was in the Middle East, but I didn't know exactly where. In the sky was written Tehran.
The president warned of retaliation, chastising Tehran for a foolish violation of the ceasefire.
I was hanging out with Putin in my dream. We were good friends. It seemed like we were good friends, that I knew him well, and he was very tired. And I said, Putin, what's wrong? Why are you so tired? He just kind of blew it off, and he, kind of macho and didn't want to tell me why he was so tired. And I insisted as his friend. I said, no, tell me why you're so tired. Why are you so worn out? And he looked at me with very sincere eyes and he said, I'm about to be pulled into something I don't want to be pulled into, but I will have no other choice.
First time indicating Russian involvement in this war with Iran. Multiple sources familiar with the intelligence say that Russia is now giving Iran intelligence on U.S. military targets, including the locations and movements of U.S. troops, ships, and aircraft.
And so I stopped and I talked to the Russian soldiers in my dream and I said, what are you guys doing? And they said, we are waiting for the go-ahead from Putin. As soon as he tells us, we're going to fire.
Russia is now providing Tehran with intelligence about the location and movements of U.S. troops, of U.S. ships, of U.S. aircraft. Sources also tell us the U.S. has intelligence suggesting that China may be getting ready to provide Iran with money, spare parts, and even missile components.
In my mind, I was thinking, okay, we've got a bad business deal, a bad covenant, a bad deal with someone of foreign descent. We have the word Tehran. It has links to Tehran. And there are green missiles, or what looks to be missiles in the sky.
This administration has said over the past week that they were hoping this was going to be a 4 to 5 week war effort, though they did acknowledge that it could last much longer. We're waiting to see if that timeline could be drawn out a bit if more countries like Russia are drawn in.
My interpretation was that it was going to lead to the Messiah's return. It could mean that there will be missiles that fly from Tehran into Zion.
Russia's involvement could be expanding when it comes to this conflict, especially after this phone call Friday.
As soon as he tells us, we're going to fire.
The Skynet funding bill is passed. The system goes online on August 4th, 1997. Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th.
An entry from Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, and then on to scripture to confirm that the new moon for the month of Av should be in the constellation of Leo.
The calendar is based on the moon, the sightings of the moon.
This tells us what constellation the new moon is to be sighted in for every month. Remember, the Jewish calendar is lunisolar. Biblically, this points us right to Genesis 1:14 as our days and nights become months. Genesis 1:14, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." So with this is not astrology that we're looking at. It is astronomy. Now, this Jewish rabbinical text of Sefer Yetzirah 5:2 notes that the fifth month on the Jewish calendar is the month of Av. But first, the first month of the year must be determined, and the famous Jewish historian Flavius Josephus pointed out that the first month of the year, the new moon is sighted in the constellation of Aries. The Jewish rabbinical writings say the same in Sefer Yetzirah 5:2. This is fine for historical context, but we need a biblical confirmation in the Word of God. Amen. With Leviticus chapter 23 in mind, we have the day counts of the feasts of the Lord. And for the first day of the seventh month on the Jewish calendar, the month of Tishri, there are no day counts. But we do have a biblical account that tells us what the sky looks like, as in keeping with the lunisolar Jewish calendar. The positioning of the sun and the moon are taken into account. The historical document aforementioned shows that the new moon is in the constellation of Libra for the month of Tishri. So on the Feast of Trumpets, which is the first day of the seventh month, the new moon should be sighted, it should be found, it should be located in the constellation of Libra. Does the Bible speak to this? It sure does. Revelation chapter 12, verse 1 and 2 describes a celestial wonder, meaning a celestial sign, a celestial warning that occurs on a particular first day of the seventh month. And we can know this by the positioning of the sun and moon relative to the constellation of the woman. The sun will be in the constellation of the woman, and the moon will be in the constellation under her feet. And that constellation under her feet is Libra. The sky looks like that every year on the Feast of Trumpets. When you consider the Jewish rabbinical text, the account of Flavius Josephus, along with this biblical account, this is proved out every single year. Now, the rest of the symbology involving the wonders described within Revelation chapter 12 are specific to a particular date in time. But the Feast of Trumpets is a particular day involved with that particular date. Once the first day of the first month is confirmed by cross-checking it with the first day of the seventh month, we can then proceed to the fifth month of Av, where the new moon is sighted in the constellation of Leo for the month of Av. This year, it will be on the evening of August 12th into the 13th, as the Jewish day begins, remember, in the evening. At that point, add 9 days for the 9th of Av. which brings us to the evening of August 21st into August 22nd.
The month of Av especially stresses the coming of the Mashiach. Like it says in the Midrash, Allah Aryeh b'mazal Aryeh v'hichriv et Ariel. So it says in the Midrash. The Aryeh, the lion, comes in the mazel, in the zodiac constellation of the lion.
Dina Kashya Sharia Be'alma. It says there's a time period where it's strict judgment in the world. What is that time period where there's strict judgment in the world? Tammuz Av Tevet.
The 5th month starts at this blood moon at the end of August.
And the zodiac month of the lion, and it will transform our mourning to joy, and it will build the Ariel, and it will rebuild the temple.
August 12th, 2026, there will be a solar eclipse, and a couple weeks after that will be a lunar eclipse, and that will be happening during an intense meteor shower.
Today is Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of a new month, which is always a time of promise and bracha, except that this particular month is a month that usually fills people with a sense of dread and concern. We now start the month called Menachem Av.
What is the name of the month? The name of the month is Av. Like the custom of the Jewish people, the month is called not Av. The custom is to put the word Menachem there. Menachem Av. Comforting the month of Av. Shalifnei Av, before the word Av, which we said that's bad. There's one month that was destroyed, the temples. Lifnei Shem HaChodesh B'Torah, before the name of the month, is Makdim, and we say Menachem. Nachamat Agula. Namely, we will be comforted by the future redemption.
When this month enters, you're supposed to diminish the joy that you have. Doesn't say don't be joyous, but diminish the joy. And for that reason, we have certain restrictive behaviors at this time. We don't eat meat or drink wine for the first 9 days of the month, other than on Shabbos, and there are various other restrictions that are associated with mourning as well. On the other hand, what is interesting, while the first 9 days of the month are very focused on the negative parts of our history and a sense of mourning, we're also told that the 15th, the middle of the month, is one of the greatest joyous days on the Jewish calendar. So it's a month of paradox. People tend to focus only on the negative, and it's important for us to recognize also the potential positive that this month carries.
Amora, this indicates, Shabbat said that in this month, Tavo Nachamat Agula, will come the comfort of the future redemption.
He just started saying, oh man, it's going to get worse and worse. And when August comes around, we're doomed. And I was like, August, huh? And he just kept saying it, August, man, when August gets here, things are going to get really bad when August gets here. And I had this dream on January 3rd. And so I thought that was interesting that pretty much right at the beginning of the year, I have a dream like this.
And you'll see the blood moon is indicated here. And there will be a solar eclipse 2 weeks ahead of time. So the sun will turn to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord.
So he just kept repeating August, and tears ended up welling up in his eyes, and he started crying. And me and the other guy that were in the truck, we just kept quiet while my dad just kept talking and talking about August.
We're not going to have another partial blood moon for years. And I don't think until 2028 or 2029.
My dad said, the rain's coming. And I was like, rain? It's kind of clear outside. It doesn't look like there's going to be any rain. But I didn't say that. I just thought to myself. And all of a sudden I could see to my left this red disc that came up. It looked like a sun, but a lot more red than, the sun is.
This coming blood moon, or partial blood moon, the moment of the full moon aligns with 12:01 a.m. over the East Coast. Av, the 5th month, is the Hebrew word for father. So my father, Avi, which is possessive father. So the reign of my father. But it goes deeper than that. So the traditional pointing says I shall not drink of the wine until I drink it new in the kingdom of my Father. But it could also be read, if you remove the vowel points, I shall not drink of the wine of the vine until I drink it at the renewed moon in the reign of my Av. And I've shown what the Hebrew letters look like unpointed here and how they each translate. And so the Hebrew word that's translated as new moon, Kodesh, is the same word for anew or renew, which is why it's the renewed moon. So renewed moon, reign of Av, is when he's going to drink the wine again. 5th month, the feast of new wine.
And it rose up really quickly on the left, and it came to the center of the sky and stopped. It was about as big as the sun.
7 years. So this is the last blood moon that we can even look at. And that's why I'm paying a lot of attention to this particular day. The moon goes around the earth, and the face of the moon is only aligned with the middle of the night. It only divides the night precisely at the full moon. That's when the moon is located halfway between the night. And the Hebrew there is the night divided, is how they use it. So as the moon goes around here, and during the day, it's not the middle of the day, it's the middle of the day. And then it's not dividing the night when it's a quarter moon. It's only when it gets over here to perfect full moon that you get a dividing of the night. And when it's dividing the night, midnight, the full moon is directly overhead.
Right after that, just this incredible feeling of joy, peace, love, it was indescribable, basically. It came over me, and I looked up into the sky in the distance, and there was this spiraling smoke I could see, and I was like, what is that? And I kept looking, and eventually I could kind of, figure out what it was, and it was an angel, and he was spiraling. Then he just stopped right in midair. He was directly above us in the sky. He was still a ways off, but you could tell it was an angel, and he's just stopped in midair with the trumpet and blew the trumpet, and it was just like, oh man, that feeling got even stronger that I had, and I just started to float out of the truck, and I could see sparse areas of the landscape. I could see other people rising up also, and it was very few where I was, but I could see everybody rising up, and I was just like, wow. And I started shouting, it's God, it's God. And it was just unbelievable. And that was pretty much it. The last thing I remember seeing was just the angel blowing his trumpet and seeing people rise up and feeling that feeling. And that feeling was the most vivid part of the dream. I saw things pretty vividly, but the feeling is something that I didn't want to let go. I was really disappointed when I woke up. But I believe that it was definitely a dream from God, and obviously He didn't give me a day or an hour, because His word says that no man knows the day or the hour. So wouldn't expect to know anything like that and to receive anything like that. But I do believe that it was some kind of warning. I don't know what's coming this summer. They talk about war in the Middle East, and how things are escalating over there with the Israelis and the Palestinians, and Iran, all that stuff. So it could be that. I mean, all these earthquakes going on these days, there could be another big one or a few big ones that are bound to hit. And so, that was the most repeated word in the dream, though, was August, and it was a warning. But then there was also that hopeful ending where we were taken up.
Turn from your sin, for all this society is about to come under the justice of God.